My name is Zero Gutierrez. This is my constructive negative against Dulce's affirmative. Um, I will start my constructive negative with the disadvantages in her affirmative. Okay. First of all, Dulce, you plan to reform education in the United States only focuses on elementary education, when in fact the topic of this whole debate is not just primarily elementary education, but rather secondary education as well. For example, you claim that elementary school is so important because it helps us understand ourselves in the future and it helps us become better individuals, which is not necessarily true. I could go about a whole long list of people who attended elementary school, but later on became, terrible people in life, just like Hitler, I don't know, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, all sorts of people, but I will not get into that. Elementary school, in reality, just teaches us the basics of subjects we will later learn in our education, such as in middle school and high school. But it doesn't teach us long-lasting life lessons that we will carry on for the rest of our lives. Children at that age in elementary are still in development, and they're still, kids, and they're barely understanding the right from wrong. That's why a lot of those kids get in trouble, and they're learning. But in my opinion, people do the most growing during their adolescence and teenage years, because that's when they are hitting puberty and learning to become, mature individuals. But you failed to mention the importance of secondary education because you focus mostly on just primary education. To define secondary education, I am referring to middle school all the way up to high school. The purpose of middle school and high school is to teach us more complex subjects and to teach us critical thinking, which, to put into perspective, is what really teaches people to become better individuals and work out problems in much more efficient ways. That's why, since you failed to mention secondary education, it just proves your point that elementary school is where you learn to become a better individual, when in fact it's during secondary education where you actually learn how to become a better individual, because you are challenged. They teach you a lot more. You learn a lot of different things rather than just basic, subjects. Which brings me on to my second argument. You say that English is the most important subject to learn in school, but according to LifeScience.com, a credible educational website, they stated that math was the most important subject in school, and they even asked a lot of people in the survey and asked them what is the most important subject in school, and they all said math. I think it was about 35% people said math, and the other people said, other subjects like science and history. But math, for 35% was the majority. Math, in a way, helps you with critical thinking, and it teaches you how to solve problems the correct way. You also said that English helps you understand, and I quote, the cause and effect of stories and stuff like that, end quote. But in my opinion, in order to understand cause and effect better, you can simply take a look at math and understand like an equation like 2 plus 2 equals 4. And there you learn the cause and effect of many things. I mean, you could simply look at any sort of mathematical equation or formula just to prove that point that if you plug a number here, it will equal this, thus cause and effect. Another point you make about English is that it helps you understand books and helps you to become a better writer. My problem with this argument is that in elementary school, everyone's English skills are a very, very basic level, unless you happen to be a kid genius that is writing philosophy at the age of 5, which is very rare and highly unlikely. But it's not until middle school and high school when your English skills are greatly improved and you are challenged to understand literature and write more sophisticated essays, which once again you failed to mention in your affirmative. This brings me to my next point. Math. You also say that math is a very important subject that needs reform in schools. But you claim, and I quote, to love math, but you didn't get to enjoy math until middle school, which is secondary education. And thus, you are proving my point that secondary education is in fact just as important, if not more important, than elementary education. You also don't really explain why math should be reformed in schools, but you just claim that it should. Because you go on about 3 or 4 minutes just about English and about 30 seconds to probably a minute about math, which is kind of, really unbalanced in a way, and you don't really go into detail as to why math is just as important as English. And this brings me to my last point. The purpose of this debate was to propose a plan as to how elementary and secondary education should be reformed. So you failed to mention an actual plan. You made points that English and math are the reasons why elementary education should be reformed, but you don't actually explain how and why. And I believe that the most important part of this debate is the actual plan, not just why it should. I mean, the actual plan itself is the most important part of this debate. And if you don't really have a plan, then you're not really sure how you're gonna approach this problem of reforming education in the United States. So that is my constructive negative, and thank you very much.